1, 2, 3, and 4.
Hi everybody, I'm so glad to see you again. Today, we're going to talk about how to express ourselves clearly and better. There are many ways to express our ideas, but of course the most common and easiest way is with our friends and family. We could talk about studying with them. We might even talk about something like, fast food. You might say that fast food is good, but your friends might say that fast food, no, it's not so good. I'll even bet that you've had some experiences where you found that it was really difficult to say what you wanted to say absolutely clearly, right? Well, of course, we all have. And of course, the misunderstandings between us doesn't make it easier to communicate. I'll even bet that it was difficult in Korean to say what you wanted to say clearly, wasn't it? Of course. Today, we're going to find some ideas and some ways to make ourselves understood clearly. First of all, let me ask you some questions. What do you think about computer games? Do you think that computer games are good for students? Okay. Now, ask me the same question. That's a really good question. I'm glad you asked. I think that computer games are bad for students. Well, I'll bet you want to ask me something, don't you? You probably want to ask me why. Okay, go ahead. Okay, right. Well, why do I think computer games are bad for students? For you to understand me clearly, I have to give reasons why I think that computer games are bad for students. Now let me add the reasons. I think computer games are bad because they are violent and because they keep students away from their studies. Now, I think you can understand me clearly, can't you? Let me give you one more sentence. Now, this is a little bit different from what we've just seen. I want you to think about how we can make the sentence more clear. Ready? Okay, here goes. There are many different kinds of music. Do you want to give me reasons at this time? No. Then what do you want to do? Absolutely. You want to give me examples to make this a better sentence, don't you? Okay, then what kinds of examples could we give? Well, give me some examples. Okay, yes. There is rap music and hip-hop music and R&B and classical and rock and roll and ballad and all sorts of types. There are so many types of music that we just can't possibly mention them all here right now, can we? Okay, so then why don't we just add a few examples to the sentence I gave? Then we'll have a better version. All right, so here goes. There are many different kinds of music. Some of them are rap music, rock and roll, ballad, hip-hop, and classical music. Well, when you have a discussion with your friends, try to give some reasons or examples or even some details so that your listeners can understand you much more clearly. Now I want to give some sentences to you. Think about whether you can understand them clearly or not. The player didn't play well because he played poorly. Learning to play chess is hard because it's difficult. These two sentences try to show reasons, but they're repeating the same idea. Let's look at the first one more closely. The player didn't play well is the same as he played poorly. It's a repetition. It's not giving a reason. And the second sentence made the same mistake as the first. Learning to play chess is hard is the same as it is difficult. It's a repetition again. Now, why don't we try to make these two sentences better? What was the first one? Right. The player didn't play well because, well, what could be the specific reasons for that? Because he didn't practice. Or the player didn't play well because he didn't follow the coach's instructions. Try to be specific when you give reasons. All right. Now let's look at the second sentence. Learning to play chess is hard because playing chess is difficult. It's a little silly, isn't it? Well, what could be the reasons why learning to play chess is hard? Well, frankly speaking, I think learning the chess rules is rather difficult. So let me give you the sentence this way. Learning to play chess is hard because the rules are difficult to learn. Now, isn't the sentence more easy to understand? I think so. Okay, now I want to talk about something that you can use to make yourself more clearly understood. Please listen to me, and then I'm sure you'll want to tell me something. Are you ready? All right, here we go. Everybody in this classroom likes me. You are all hungry. Now, don't you want to tell me something? How about the first sentence? Everybody in this classroom likes me. Well, does every one of you in this classroom like me? I'll bet you that some of you in this classroom like me and some of you don't. Well, that's life. But it's not right to say that everybody likes me. It's an overgeneralization. That means that something is true for everybody or everything. The same thing is true of the second sentence. You are all hungry. I'll bet you that some of you are hungry and some of you aren't. I know I'm hungry. You have to be really, really careful when you use words like everybody and all. Words that mean the whole. You have to use them very, very carefully. All right then, how can we make those example sentences better? What was the first one again? Right, the first one was, everybody in this classroom likes me. Well, how about this one? Some of the students in this classroom like me. Or, maybe even better, for me, most of the students in this classroom like me. I think it's fair to say that, don't you? Yeah. Well, how about the second one? You are all hungry. If I change it this way, some of you are hungry, well, I'd have to say that some of you are hungry because some of you look hungry. But if I say many of you are hungry, it's because when I look at you, I see that many of you look hungry. So I would say many of you are hungry. All right, now I want to give you two example sentences. I want you to think about how you can improve them. All right, here's the first one. You always go to sleep early. The second one is, men will never lose to women in a soccer game. Okay, let's check the first one. You always go to sleep early. Well, quite simply, do you always go to sleep early? No. Sometimes you do, sometimes you don't. So how do we change it? You sometimes go to sleep early. Or, if I think that you often go to sleep early, well, then I would simply say, you often go to sleep early. We'll be fine. As for the second sentence, men will never lose to women in a soccer game, I think the girls will have a lot to say about that sentence. Don't you, girls? Do you think that men never lose to women in a soccer game? No way! Men usually defeat women. Well, that's possibly true, but it isn't necessarily true to say that women will always be defeated by men in a soccer game. So it's fair to say that men usually defeat women in a soccer game. As we figured out so far, there are some words that you can use to carefully make yourself clearly understood. These includes words like every, all, always, never, nobody. Words that mean the whole or 100%. Be careful with these words if you want to be clearly understood to avoid confusion or misunderstandings. I want to finish today by giving you my opinions on fast food. I'll give my opinions in two different styles. Think about how different the styles are while you're listening. Try to follow along with me. You ready? Okay, here you go. Here's the first opinion. It seems to me that fast food is bad for our health. I can't exactly tell why it's bad, but everyone around me tells me not to eat fast food too much. So I just feel that fast food is bad. Okay, now let me give you the second opinion. Listen carefully, please. Here we go. I strongly believe that fast food is bad for our health. I read about fast food in a news article a few days ago. It said it contains a lot of trans fat, which is really bad for our blood vessels. I'm sure that we should stop eating too much fast food. Well, okay, good. Which one do you think is the stronger view? Take a look one more time. Can you tell which is the stronger view? You're right. The second one is much stronger. Well then, how did you know? Through which part or expressions do you know? Well, let's find out together. In the first one, I said, it seems to me that fast food is bad for our health. I wasn't quite sure, so I said, it seems to me. And I said, I just feel that fast food is bad. I didn't know very well about what I was talking about, but I just felt that way. As you see, the first expression is quite unconvincing. It doesn't have a strong viewpoint. However, in the second one, it shows a much stronger viewpoint. Can you tell which expressions are strong views? Right. I strongly believe that fast food is bad for our health. And what else? I'm sure that we should stop eating too much fast food. With these expressions, you can tell I'm so sure that fast food is very bad. You can use different expressions to show how sure you are about a subject, like I did here. Okay, let me finish today's lecture by summing up what we talked about. Well, what did we talk about? Right. We found out ways to express our opinions clearly. When we give an opinion, we try to give reasons why we think in the way that we do. And we try to give reasons and details and examples to make our points more clearly understandable. But we shouldn't repeat the same idea. There are some words that we have to use very carefully, we found out. When we use words like every, all, always, everybody, never, and nobody, we find that they mean the whole. So, if we use them, we have to use them not too much or carelessly. If we do, we overgeneralize. Then our listeners may misunderstand us. Why don't we try using expressions like I'm sure, or I'm certain, or it seems to me that when you give your opinions? They will make you more clearly understood because they show how strongly you believe in something. Okay, that's all for today. You guys did a great job. We'll see you again. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.